All right. What's going on, everyone? Aaron here, Clean Coast Lawn Care. It is Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. So what would that be? November 28th, I believe. So last night, they were calling for a bunch of snow just east of us. Oh, if you're wondering why I wear these in the winter during snow removal, it's just to help keep my hands dry. You know, your gloves get wet, your hands get wet and cold, just to keep my hands dry. I just got done with a snow route, that's why they're all dirty. Calling for a bunch of snow just east of us, not just east, but like 30 minutes east. They got like 13 inches, some areas more. Most of my area got in between 4 inches to 7 inches. The house I just left had a foot, like in some areas, and then other areas maybe like 8 inches. But it was a pretty solid snow event. First time I used the Toro 721E single stage snow blower. And once people knew I had bought it on YouTube, they had been asking for a review of it. But I wanted to wait until I used it. So here's some footage of me using it for like maybe it's like a minute and a half video. Not the best video, but just so you can see it getting used. Okay, so that was the video of me using it at one of my properties. Wasn't the best video, I just wanted to capture, you know, a quick video of it being used. That property, I don't know, maybe it had 3 or 4 inches of snow. Like I said, it varied all day. It's snowing again right now. So, it's supposed to stop in 3 hours, so... some things I didn't like. Now, listen, this isn't going to be one of the reviews where I say it has this motor, this many cc's, it has the double quad ventilation airflow system. I'm just talking about the use of the machine. I'm not saying anything's wrong with those reviews where they give the schematics of it. But I like the reviews where you're just talking about it and, you know, how did you like it? What didn't you like? It's like, because when you hear all that on the reviews and that's all they tell you, it's like, I could have read the manual too, bro. It sounds really, like, ingenuine, right? Like you read the manual and hit record. So, so some things I didn't like about it. We'll start with the things I didn't like about it. The day I opened it, this thing is plastic. Okay, the casing of it is plastic. Inside, the auger housing is plastic. The scraper bar is, if you want, I don't, on a two stage you would call it a scrape bar. I don't know if that's what you would call it on a single stage, but that's plastic. I mean, this thing is plastic. Now, granted, this is not a commercial use machine, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be plastic. I'm just telling you it is plastic, a lot of it. That's right away, just visually, something I didn't like. Sun's out. Dropping snow like crazy 1 minute, boom, sun's killing you the next. So using it, one of the first things I didn't like is the first driveway I got to where there was a decent amount of snow, like some drift snow. It struggled. It got it done, but it did struggle a bit. Now remember, for my first 4 winters, I used nothing other than 2-stage snow blowers. So I'm not comparing it, but it might help you to know that I've only used 2-stage snow blowers ever. My first time ever using a single stage was today. It did struggle a little bit. That was one thing I didn't like, but it got it done. So I was happy with it. Also, when I first bought it, my buddy Little Anthony's, who turned me on to this specific model, he told me that as when you have a when you pull the handle and you have your I'm forgetting the damn paddles going, that the paddles basically pull you along. So it's not like a 2-stage where you have a throttle or a you know, where you're hitting the gas, basically you're going, but the paddles pull you. And then I talked to a fella in the comment sections of one of my videos, and he told me the same thing, which they do, but not at the rate I wish it did. It seemed to be a little bit slower than I thought it was going to be, but maybe it's supposed to be. Maybe if it went any faster, it would struggle to recycle the snow through the auger and up and out of the chute. I just thought it was going to be a little bit faster. Another thing I didn't like, obviously, it's a 21-inch snowblower. I started off with a 24, then I went to a 30, then I bought that 26. So, however you look at it, I'm used to having a bigger path, okay? Having less, so I'm having to make less passes. That, you know, didn't care for that. Now, when you use it, another thing I didn't like was the fact that the tires are just these round plastic wheels. They're wheels, they're not tires, they're wheels. And the problem is, once snow gets a little bit slushy, after you make a pass, they will stick to those wheels, and now your wheel won't turn. It'll like drag along until that snow busts off of there. That got really annoying several different times. Now, that might not be a bigger problem in the dead of winter when it's very, very cold. Right now it's probably in the 20s, high 20s. And at some points it was even warmer than that. And I'm sure that's why the snow was getting a little bit slushier and whatnot. So that was a bit of a problem. Also, like at the end of the aprons, as it was getting slushy, that was a problem. Another thing I didn't like about it, listen, and the snow was not bad today, meaning it wasn't like that wet, icy, slushy snow. For the most part, I was in fluffy snow. This thing clogged a lot, and I mean a lot. Multiple times every property. I mean, maybe the snow was a little bit slushy because it was going a little bit warmer, but the consistency of the snow, it seemed fine, but I'm sure it was a little bit wetter than normal. So maybe that will improve as it gets colder, but it did clog a lot. Now, one good thing about the clogging situation was, now on a 2-stage, you know, from the auger housing up through the discharge, it's longer, okay? So a lot of times when it would clog, you would have to use that little mini shovel they give you and pop it out of there. With this, what I did was I let go of the bar, okay? Listen, I'm not telling anyone to reach their hand inside of a snowblower, okay? Use some common sense and use caution when you do something like this. I made sure the paddles were not moving, and I never reached all the way to the paddles. I don't need some lawyer calling me next week saying, hey, is this Aaron from Clean Cuts? I have a client here who said last week you told him to reach his hand inside of a snowblower, and now he has no fingers, and it's your fault. Okay, I would let go of the bar, and I would just be able to quickly push the snow back down in there, and that freed it right up. It never once was like a project to unclog it. Now at the end of the aprons, as that was becoming slushy, that was a little bit worse. But that's just because of the slush. And the city's coming by, hitting, you know, plowing the roads right back onto your aprons, and so that was a little bit worse. But I'm talking about the actual snow. Another thing I didn't like was because of the fact it's so light. Now on a 2-stage, when you hit uneven pavement, like a raised piece of concrete, basically what would happen is your scraper bar would just hit it, the snow blower would stop, and you would, because it happens quick, there's no time for this not to happen, it would stop real quick. You would basically run right into the back of the snow blower. Oh God, you cuss it out, kick it a couple times, and you're okay. With this, it's so light that if it hit an uneven patch of pavement, what would actually happen is, because you're still moving forward, you would end up actually pushing the snowblower forward. The handle would lift right up off the ground, and now the paddles are beating the pavement pretty hard. Which of course, you know, you hurry up and let go and get it back down, but it takes a second before you can really reverse that happening. That was another thing I didn't like about it. It happened to me a couple times today. To be honest, I'd rather run into the back of a snowblower, cuss it out and beat it up, rather than replacing these paddles sooner because of that happening. There's probably a couple more small things I didn't necessarily like about it, but again, this is the initial use. Is there anything more important? No, I think that's about it for as far as what I didn't like. And when I said that about the wheels, remember that all the 2 stages, you have tires filled with air, so you have that extra traction. You're never going to be in that situation where that tire is not moving because it has snow on it. It's going to turn. So, you know, it's just going to get some getting used to. But now I have to run inside here, but I'll tell you about the things I liked about it and my final result, you know, of what I think. All right, now on to the things I liked about the machine, which there's a lot. Even though I said that one negative about it being too light and what happened, I actually loved how light it was. Even though the 2-stage snowblowers is, God, what do you call it? I'm so tired, I'm drawing a blank. is self-propelled. That's what I was trying to say earlier. They kicked my ass. Every snow event in two-stage snow blowers would kick my ass. God, especially when I had that 30-inch Husqvarna. Oh God. So I loved how light it was. That was huge. Also, even though I said it struggled a little bit, like I said, it was powerful enough that it got the job done. Not only did it get it done, but the quality of the snow removal with this snowblower was better than any other snowblower I ever used. The paddles really got it pretty much down to the ground. Which that was always a problem with the two stages, because you have to set your scraper bar height, and you set them with those skid shoes or whatever. Let me see, what else did I like about it? Basically, the fact that there's so much less that can go wrong because it's a lot more simple than the two-stage snow blowers. That's huge. You know, if you guys remember that 30-inch Husqvarna I had, I only had 4 uses on that thing. 5 maybe, and it just literally started falling apart. The friction disc broke, or like, you know, was no longer good. The drive shaft broke as I was changing that. It literally fell apart. A lot less things that can go wrong. Another thing I liked was I originally thought the directional change was going to be a problem because it just has this little handle on it, on the chute, and then to change your pitch, you just grab this little lever and move it. So I'm like, oh, that's going to suck. It's way up front. I'm used to either having a handle to turn or an arm up here to move. It really wasn't bad at all. What I did was, as I would turn around and if I needed to switch direction, I would kind of step to the side, and because it's so light, I would pull it back to me a little bit, and boom, it's right there. Do it. Kind of grab the handle again, step back to the side, and I'm gone. I liked that it was nice and easy to do that. It wasn't a, it wasn't a problem at all. But the biggest thing I can say is that the quality, like I said, it really got it right down to the ground. And I would say that's definitely like the biggest thing that I liked about it. So, like I said, I'm only going to give a couple things. I'm not going to get too deep into it. It's only an initial use review. So it's lightweight, it's real nice quality. It's a simple machine, easy to change the direction. As you guys know, I haul it on a cargo carrier. Now, because of the wheels, I like to push it on. I don't like pulling it on. I like pushing it on and then pulling it off. Because of how light it is, I can't hit the ramp and go. It just don't want to go. But because how light it is, I just grab the middle bar and right up under the auger housing and pull it, and boom, it's right on. And I honestly do like that it's just a single stage. It just seemed to really work well. Like I said, it not hard to handle at all. Another thing I like is that you can get it in smaller spaces. That was a big thing. There's several walkways that say they have a light post. Several times, my 30-inch at this one house, I couldn't get it between a bush and a light post. and I had other areas like this, walkways going that are parallel to a garage. 30-inch wouldn't fit. So how small it is that a cop? Yep. All right, so how small it was, even though, like I said, it sucked as far as the my lines went, but I was able to get it in so many different places that I couldn't get some of the 2-stage snow blowers in. That was actually a big help, because then I had to shovel less. I was able, instead of having to shovel like walkways that had a step, because I could never get the 2 stages up there, I was able to get this up there. So that was a big plus. All in all, I would give this snowblower, if you're grading it, a B-, which a B- is pretty good. Listen, I remember in elementary school, if I got all B-, that was good. I knew my parents weren't going to beat the shit out of me, at least that week. They'd have to wait until I did something else. So it was good. I'd give it a strong B-. I'm very happy with it. Will I stay with this or go back to 2-stage? Tell you what, if we hit, I'm pretty much confident that I'm going to stay with the Toro single stage. I still have 1 2-stage that I'll probably take out with me if we have a bad snowstorm, like a lot of inches. But all in all, for your general snowstorm usage, I think this is the snowblower I'm going to use. Even if I have to buy one a year, I don't care. I paid $840 for it after taxes. If I had to buy one a year just so I don't have the headache, I'm fine with it. So, all right, I hope this review helps you guys out. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Let me know everything I'm doing wrong, and keep the edges clean, boys. I'm out.